Right, welcome back. Went on a little shopping spree and found these. These are lockers from a fire appliance. And I brought these back. I removed the alley and I brought these back because of the mechanism. I mean, that is just quite wonderful for what it is. So I'm thinking about utilising these somehow. I haven't figured out how yet. Excuse me. The light ain't that great, but anyway, look, filler tube. And the reason why I was talking about using the other filler cap is because I don't have a key for that. This is a tube, an inlet tube, silicone inlet tube, which will be used to transfer the fuel across. So that's another thing we picked up. Remember them drawers I spoke about? They are actually quite heavy duty, as you can see. I've got 4 of those. The screwed points are there. They're all on roller bearings. I mean, you could make some serious toolboxes for your 4x4 truck, or Land Rover even, and stuff like that. These are a really good quality. Really good quality. It's just a pity I couldn't find some that were longer when I first did this, because I would have used something similar to this to do the slide outs with, without a doubt. I had all of this aluminium donated to me by a lad who works up one of the tips in Ipswich, which I'm very, very grateful for. We've got to line this locker eventually with those, but the other thing I picked up from this same fire appliance is this lovely sliding drawer. If I can get this light put in somehow. There we go. It's also on heavier duty runners to what the other drawers are in. And my generator's going on that. So I can actually slide my Jenny out, have it running outside so I don't smoke up inside or under the truck. Purpose being, if I need to do some maintenance on it, or if I want to fill it up with fuel, I don't have to put separate fuel pipes in. The downside to it is it's not electric start, although I'm looking at converting it over to the full length, almost, height wise, that ladder needs to be. So one of my ideas is on each one of these runs, this is a different type of slider. This is only a 3-piece slider. Those are about 4 or 5-piece. Is the weld on the outside edge. So how can I put it? There's no room in here and it's a bit dark. Basically, even though there's a rubber roller there, the other one is made up of steel components. I don't think there's any rubber or plastic within the system. So I was going to weld onto that edge, and then possibly that edge, and that edge. So when you roll it out, you've got brackets coming off on the ends of each one. So that'd give me 3 brackets. I'm not sure how I'd be able to do this, but that could probably give me another 3 more. But until I've pulled it out, I generally don't know. It's all greasy, my hands are clean. So what I was thinking of doing is 2 of these, having a couple of plates welded in up there that come out at the width of the step treads on both sides, and then hang the ladder off that point there. So on rotational type hinge things, so when you draw it down, you can lay it wherever you want to lay it. I mean, Christ, we could even go as far as putting a couple of sliders on there if we wanted to pull out as a platform for the ladder to lock onto. It would make a nice cover for the speakers if I had 2 treads that slid in and out. Miserable weather. And here is the magical slider. This has come off a fire appliance. You can see that one's folded in. This particular one extends out further than the rest of them because I believe there is either a generator sits on it or an oil pump, hydraulic pump unit or something, I'm not sure. Obviously it's a heavy duty item because the item that's on it is heavy. And these are powder coated end caps for an industrial shelving rack, and I figure if I cut them off there, I can then weld these flat parts onto these areas here. From what I can work out, there is no plastic material in these sliding mechanisms to what there are on, say, like your average household drawers, which I wouldn't want to use for the job. They cost, to my astonishment, the second day, excuse me, it's working out. I wasn't expecting this at all. So I can't really do this one-handed. You'll just have to take my word for it. So I ran out of steel, didn't have enough. I've gone the full width of the hole that this has to sit around. So what I'm going to do next, I've just got another brackets to put on those angles there, and I have angled them as well. I've got some off cuts which I'll trim up and I'll weld them on, and that step there will just have to be pure wood. There's not a lot I can do about it, I'm afraid. We'll try and make each piece of wood wider than the one above, so as we can put some angles and edges and trim and all that lot around it. I'm just waiting for some carby cleaner so I can clean all this steel up, and once I've got the last of those done, we'll take it into the van and we'll work out where it's going to sit and how it's going to sit. Right, Saturday. Anyway, struts are in. I just got to put some battens down there each side so I can screw up the floor, and that ladder I need to put a plate across here with a rod. So a plate over, screwed in, rod coming out, hinge there, so that part, where are we? So that part there can fix to it. And then the idea is you grab the bottom, and then you literally, with two roller skate wheels in a track, you can then lift it and then push it under, lock it onto there. Now, that step might end up getting cut off after all, because I'm not seeing it as being very useful. And I have just had a wizard of an idea on this. Originally, I did state that we were going to have half of those arms sticking out up here. We do not need to, and we need a hand banister rail up at that point as well. And this is what I come up with in my head. I bought a set of old roller skates this morning on Facebook sales, tenner. That should give me enough ball bearing, roller bearing, raced bearing, call them what you like, wheels, polyurethane. I can machine them down on my lathe if I need to skinny them up. So we're going to run a piece of wood along there somewhere, but we're going to continue that piece of wood all the way up to the top of the roof line, all the way up to the top of that roof line, going down. We'll put some wheels on that end, and we'll put the wheels down on that end, so the whole ladder frame can track up and down. The purpose of that is when this thing folds away, it can fold away right up to the top of the roof line, and it's out of the way. And then that means I can bring the whole thing down, and I can build a step on this piece here going straight across. So that will be the top step, which means the bottom steps I can have sitting at a decent height. The only thing I'm annoyed with myself is I put the blaster frames the wrong way around, but that might actually be to my advantage because you use the front of the step with your foot more, and that's where the strength is going to be. Right, I'm going to call it a day. I'm seriously struggling to get my head around anything at the moment for some reason. Just can't seem to, I can't concentrate. Something going on in my head, don't know what. Anyway, look, the good side of that is I'm taking my time, so things are getting done better than they normally would. It's just taking so much longer. So that's going to be specifically, managed to get my teak wood off the side of a horse box today. There wasn't much of it. The horse box was pretty rotten, but we've got that sorted. So we've got enough wood now to get this bit. Been playing around with this all day, and unfortunately, as you can see, the frame is there. Look, the wheels have been cut off. It didn't work. The battens that I put behind weren't strong enough to support my weight, let alone the frame weight. So I cut up a couple of pieces of teak from that horse box, and the plan is now I've taken, so I've got to go back and get some more. You can't see, it's too dark. I need to get more light in this truck. I've welded on an extra runner which I was saving for the back, so that one, as you can see, will screw and bolt through those three holes there. I can't get to those unless I drill through the back plate to access them, but I think there's a runner in there as well, so that ain't going to be possible. That piece there screws on to that inside edge there, which will be up here somewhere, probably there. So that first set of runners or sliders will be the fold away sliders. That's what folds it all the way up the top and gets it out of the way of this hatch, because we've got a door going in there. The second set of sliders is the drop down sliders. So once you get it halfway down and it stops, then the rest of them will slide down, and that will give you the ladder itself. That's the plan. I've got to cut the steps, unfortunately, because welding those on the side, and that was the only place I could put them, has left me with some discrepancies. So we're going to have to literally cut them. We're going to have to cut them, cut straight down there, straight down there. I might weld the offcuts onto those brackets that I deliberately left, and because we need another step, we ain't got enough. Might even have to put another one at the top, but we'll see where this ends up, and we'll screw that all on just to see if it will work. Once I've established all of that, then we'll cut these down to their areas, put another batten over the top, you know, one of these over the top, and then we'll sand it all back, varnish it all up, do all of that as well, clean all of this bit here up, and we should have a rather effective ladder. Unfortunately though, nearing a win, that is definitely a better system than before. However, we do have some other issues now. The slide outs are strong, they're really strong, but I'm using them in a different method, and the load is no longer put on these plates. How can I put it? I'm not an engineer, so I can't really. Let's put it like this: the load is now inside the rails, so when you stand on the tread, there's no force going that way, it's going that way. If you see what I'm trying to say, there is a word for it, I can't find it. That works. What I was originally trying to do with this, as you can see the extra screw hole here, is I was angling it so this would come straight out to here somewhere, and the treads would be more square in line with what I was trying to do. I'm not confident that I can support this. That bottom one will need to be supported, either with separate blocks added to the sides to sit where they need to sit, or with some legs at the bottom that will just literally fall to the ground, and I'm more in mind to have the one at the bottom that falls to the ground, to be honest with you, or a separate step at the bottom to carry the weight of the bottom step, which will then support everything that's going on here. That rail, I think what we're going to have to do is put blocks behind to support that, and then possibly another block behind to support as much of that as we possibly can. There is room for one, it's just going to look a bit ugly to what I originally planed the wood up, glued it and screwed it all together. It's a lot more solid than it was. We've still got to make some fixing plates. I'm a little disappointed my speakers are stuck behind them. But we can address that at a later date. We're going to, this is the end of another day, and this is as far as we've got it so far, which I'm pretty pleased about. I can't wait for the comments, especially the negative ones, if there should be negative. I'm looking forward to those. Because people are going to, I know people are going to say, why not just a normal ladder, cut in half and chucked in there? That has already been thrown at me, that idea. And obviously, I could do that. But with the wife's health, I need a little bit more than just a plain old ladder, I'm afraid. And that's just the way it is. I'm not going to go into her medical issues because it's her business, but I do need to make it as easy. I'm now fitting the forward motion motor unit. I've drilled through the tops there with 5mm hole and put some very large screws in there, but loose. I want that to move up and down. Right, as ladders go, I'm quite impressed with myself, if I say so. Not too modest, huh? Anyway, the mechanism is in for the bottom. That is a regular Jaguar, specifically, electric seat mechanism. It moves the seat backwards and forwards. That's all that one does. You've got 2 linear screws each side, and the motor is in the middle. Double acting, as in it does 2 motions. If you were using it for a different application, you could actually remove one of those, spin it around, and you could have one screw coming that way and the other one going up. I mean, multitude of uses. Downside is the screws just ain't long enough. That's as simple as that. If I could find an engineering shop to make me some real long uns, I would have them on the ladder, one each side, because I think that would work really well. So that now works. I'll demonstrate that in a minute. I've got to get some treads cut next to go into the steel work, so as we can climb up the ladder. And we've also got to get some roller skate wheels, as you see in my hand, and we've got to make up a track to run up and down here to hold that. So probably one there, one there. I don't think there'll be any more. I have one more piece of batten to put in, which is the support for the second rail to go on this side, because we haven't done that yet. I've only temporarily tied that one on to give you an idea of what we're doing and where this is going. This is a very difficult thing to do when you're on your own one-handed. And it's out. I'll demonstrate in. Now, you'll note that that does go slow on the pull, and on the push it's a bit quicker. That is the car that they came out. I think those are getting a little bit low on life, to be honest. That motor, it was like that on the car, and that thing has sat outside for the best part of about 7 months in the rain and weather. I'm surprised it still works. I have another one, comes to it. We'll look for another one at a later date if this here should break, but that gives you an idea of what is going on. It's not a wow factor in the sense of, oh my god, look at that, look how cool that is. No, it's not that. It's just practicality for the application that I need it for. Simple as that. The reason for it to come forward is to get a bit more angle. That makes it a bit easier to get up, and it'll also clear those speakers so I don't go smacking my toes into the speakers and destroying them. That's the only reason for that mechanism. The next mechanism to go in, electric winch, cables, or cable, and we're going to attempt, right, eventually I want this to do this. Obviously we've got to make some alterations up top, but eventually that will park itself with the treads. I don't know if you can see that, I hope you can. That will park itself up there out of the way so you don't head bang the damn thing. And that is pretty much that. Well, that's it for this episode. This is phase 1 of the ladder, one of 2 phases. The second phase is we're going to clean up all of this wood, sand it all back, varnish the whole lot up, and then we're going to paint all of this in hammerite. And then the next stage on this is to put the wooden treads in place, screw and glue those in place, and at some point we've then got to start looking at putting pulleys and wheels and the winch. I've got some I forget what they're called, blocks, wheel blocks, I don't know, I can't remember the proper name of them. I'm a boat builder and I can't remember. We've got some wheels for my yacht to go on here, pulleys. We're going to run a cable all the way up, down, round. all the way up, down again, and then we'll connect that up to the winch, and then there'll be 2 buttons. I was going to do it all on 1 button, but I've decided because that motor on the ground isn't so great on pushing it back in, we'll have that on a separate switch, so when we pull up a campsite we press 1 button, that will come out and get me the angle I want, because it's not in the way for getting around corners and stuff. And then the second one will be to lower and to raise the ladder. In fact, the only reason I need it out of the way is so I can access the cab, and to be honest, when we're at the campsite I can't see me wanting to get in there that much, so the ladder may stay down for the whole duration of the trip that we're doing. So that's pretty much it. As I said, this is phase 1 of 2. Phase 2 is the next video. Hopefully we'll get this out next weekend, but I can't make any guarantees, but I will do my best. And then this one will be finished. The next video from that, the next one will be the tabletop. We've got a load of mahogany stroke teak panels, a whole new tabletop, because I really hate that with a passion, that table. Once we've got that done, also I want to start addressing this here slide out. I want to get the seals sorted out, I want to get the framework on the inside done. I've got to get my hands on some plastic PVC, but here's my biggest problem. We bought an inverter for the van. That came in at a very high price. That's whacked my catalogue bill up to quite a bit of money each month, which means I'm going to have to maybe put this job down for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, while I try and pay that off, because there won't be any money to put into the truck until that bill has been paid. So what I will do with all the bits and pieces that I've got lying around, we will go back to the rat rod. We've got to take the engine out, because we're trying to convert that over to carburetors. And to do that, being a 4 litre, I know I've got to change the crank because the oil pump is on the wrong side. But without going too far into that, I will then get back to that job. And also the trike, I want that on the road for this summer as well. So we've got some work to do to that as well. So with all of that in mind, I would like to say to all of the new subscribers, which has been the best part of 100 so far in less than 3 weeks, welcome to the channel. We have the rat rod, we have the motorhome build, we have the trike, we also have a Honda C90 in the video listings. Go and help yourselves. All I ask in return, please, is please press the like button as much as you can. Please comment like crazy, and if you haven't already subscribed and you're interested in all of this stuff, and none of this is scientific, it's all sort of hack it together as I go along as best as I can do it. That's all it is. It's all here. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for ticking all the likes, thank you for your comments, and I'll see you next week.